Shields up, Iron Breakers, and welcome back to Monster Hunter Wilds. Another day, another weapon overview, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Switch Axe. This was actually the weapon that I wanted to main when I first played the Monster Hunter World beta. And the reasoning behind that is because zero-sum discharge. It's absolutely brutal. You stab the monster in sword mode, and you just like start charging until it explodes. I absolutely love that. You know, I like explosions, man. What can I say? It's just that simple. But not only we're getting the Switch Axe, we're getting a first look at one of the new armor sets from what appears to be one of the new monsters. This actually looks really cool. Reminds me a little bit of that wuxia type of movies or series that they do. This is like a Chinese type thing where the characters jump really high and do all these crazy kung fu things. It's really cool. I like wuxia. I used to watch some of that back when I was younger. So, you know, I kind of dig the style that they're going for this particular weapon, and I'm really curious to see what monster that is from. Unless that is from a monster that is already, you know, present in the series. If it is, I can't really recognize it, but, you know, let's take a look at what they're cooking for the Switch Axe. Okay. Multifaceted weapon that can morph between two different modes. Axe mode excels at long-reach attacks. Sword mode lets you unleash faster attacks. The animations on that. Use focus mode, target a monster's wounds and weak points. What the hell? Bro, why do they make these so short? It makes it so hard to dissect, I swear, bro, because there's so much to break down here. Holy crap. So let me actually lower this a little bit. So first, like I said, we have this wuxia looking set. They're showing us the female version of it. The male version of this set actually looks way more wuxia even than this. But look at the little transparency of the cloth here. That's really interesting. Wait, this is probably some type of beetle or something like that, because look at this. This looks very insectoid in nature. This is going to be some type of like a temnoceran, a new one, which is good, because that's one of the things that I feel like the community has been asking for a lot. It's like, hey, we need more temnocerans, you know, more temnocerans. We need more of those. We haven't really seen enough of them in recent Monster Hunter entries. So this right here is the finisher. So usually, I think this was I forget if this was a new move that was introduced with Iceborne or not, but basically you're in axe mode and you're mashing like the secondary attack button, just like swings the hammer wildly, and then midway you interrupt with your primary attack and it does this, which deals a ton of damage. So you got axe mode, sword mode. This weapon looks very interesting. It's not my favorite in terms of looks, I'm gonna be real, but it looks original as hell. And, you know, it definitely reveals like a lot of intent behind the design as opposed to some of the bits on sticks that we saw during World. Lots of cloth hanging out and whatnot. That's pretty cool. So I'm assuming that this is an ice weapon because it looks like it's dealing ice elemental damage, right? Is that the first time we've seen ice elemental damage? It looks so unique. So this is all very like traditional movesets that we see up until this point. You know, you see your axe mode attacks. These are all attacks that have been... I don't think there's like a single new attack in here for Monster Hunter World or Iceborne. Like this is just axe attacks. Then here we see sword attacks. Yep, this looks like that. Okay, see, what is this? This is what I need to understand. Like, look at this. That little sidestep, like these very subtle sidesteps that they keep showing us with all of these weapons, they're throwing me off so hard. Because this increases the mobility of the Switch Axe. I mean, slightly. And to be honest, this is something that the switch axe definitely needed. As a matter of fact, whenever I would play switch axe, I wouldn't even play switch axe without having at least 1 or 2 points in evade extender, because you can barely move with the weapon without having some evade extender. It's almost on the level of gun lance when it comes to that. So like that little just adjustment there, it looks like they did it using focus mode. Yeah, so in here you can actually see that they do it through focus mode. Okay, that's new. It was so fast. So that's probably like a focus strike? That is a brutal focus strike, and it finishes with a very quick zero-sum discharge. Even, well, not really a zero-sum just discharge. This is probably just called an amp discharge or something like that. Because it's super fast, because zero-sum is actually like you stab the monster in its face and you're clutching onto the monster until it explodes. I don't think they would get rid of that. That's like one of the most iconic moves we've had in the switch axe. But this focus strike looks cool. This is like super fast, hits multiple times. This is really good for elemental damage. Like, look at that. The surprising thing is that it does it in axe mode as opposed to doing it in sword mode, because sword mode would really benefit, especially if you have like the blade all charged up and you would get the discharges. That would really benefit from that. Jesus, the amount of hits that thing does, though. Pretty brutal. So here, no way they're adding block, right? So that's a counter. That almost looked like a guard point. That straight up looks like a guard point for the switch axe. That is a if that is the case, that is a major shift for this weapon. Just like straight up, oh, we're just going to add in a guard point. Just like the way that it sounds and the way that the character positions it. Or it could just be the counter. Because like we've had a counter, I think it was introduced, again, I always get this confused with Rise of Sunbreak. I think it was introduced in Sunbreak, the counter, and it was pretty brutal. But like, look, it's in sword mode. This looks like the counter is just so fluid that it almost didn't seem like... It was so fast that almost made it seem like a guard point, and even just the sound almost makes it seem like a guard point, but likely it's just a counter. It's just they triggered it at exactly the right moment. So I'm going to bet that it's the counter, but I'm going to leave the option open for potentially guard point. You guys let me know in the comment section, what do you think about that? Yeah, there's the counter, and then we had another move here. Oh, that's the move that has this was present in Monster Hunter Rise. I forget what the name of it is. Invincible Gambit, something Gambit. Is it Gambit even? Maybe I'm just thinking too much about Deadpool and Wolverine. But like, there's a move that you can do, which basically has hyper armor all the way. Like, you can kill yourself doing this move. I used it so many times whenever I would play Switch Axe in Rise. It's so powerful. But yeah, you just like kind of charge towards the monster with hyper armor and just deal crap tons of damage. That's this move right here. Bam, pop, 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 bam. Now this also appears to be new. I don't think that this is a clash or anything, but this is the weapon is in amped state. So it's got file discharges. Bro, they show us so very little of the weapon in amped state. They were really stingy with Switch Axe. I feel like they should have shown us a little bit more for this weapon. It leaves so much to mystery, but that right there is amped state, which basically is a state that you get the weapon in sword mode after you hit a bunch of times. It starts discharging files and whatnot on the monster whenever you hit it, and that's what this is. The combo looks somewhat different than what I remember. Switch Axe looking hella good. And again, I want to point out, it looks good, but it feels grounded. You know what I mean? Like, not a whole lot of high-flying maneuvers or anything like that. You do have the whole hyper armor move that we got on the Switch Axe in Monster Hunter Rise, but other than that, not that many changes. I'm very curious to know whether that is an actual counter or if that's the counter or an actual guard point that they're putting in, because it was swapping between forms too. Like it went from sword mode, and that little sidestep, this time we see the sidestep being used with focus mode. Makes me wonder if all the sidesteps that we've seen so far, like the ones we've seen on Sword and Shield, are also through focus mode. So focus mode would potentially just let you sidestep with whatever weapon you're using, quickly sidesteps to reposition. That would actually be fantastic, because that is one of the ways of increasing mobilities for weapons and the precision for weapons without necessarily making those weapons more faster and more arcadey and, oh, we get to do the wire bug thing and whatnot. It's just like, oh, just little repositionings with focus mode. I think that is actually really good because it keeps the combat grounded whilst allowing you to be more precise about the way in which you position around the monster. That is actually really cool. Looking forward to seeing more. But yeah, for now, I think Switch Axe looks pretty good. Definitely not my favorite. Obviously, no, my favorite's Gunlance. I like Gunlance. I like what I saw for Sword and Shield and Charge Blade. Those all look phenomenal, which are my three main weapons. I still want to pick a fourth. I'm hoping that's going to be the Lance. I kind of like moved away from Lance and Rise and Sunbreak because I didn't like that implementation. I know that a lot of people did, not me. But yeah, I'm very looking forward to what the Lance is going to look like. But for now, that is going to be it. If you guys enjoyed this, if you guys like these weapon overviews, if you want to see more Monster Hunter Wilds content here in the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button, bell notification icon, all of that jazz. And hit that like button too, because it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm and all that stuff. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.